Hey guys, let's get more news about Miami Heat, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Hawks' Dyson Daniels pulls off incredibly rare NBA feat last done by 2008 to 2009 Chris Paul. The Atlanta Hawks are trying their best not to convey a top first-round pick to the San Antonio Spurs, and with Jalen Johnson out for the season, making the playoffs will be an uphill climb yet again for them. Nonetheless, the Hawks are still fighting with everything they've got, and on Monday night, they managed to get back on track with a 98-86 victory over the Miami Heat. It was a grimy affair between the Hawks and the Heat, as both teams played their hearts out on defense, leading to some putrid shooting nights from the team's lead guards. And Dyson Daniels, in particular, played a starring role in slowing down Tyler Herro, who was limited to 11-point night on 4-19 shooting from the field. Daniels has been one of the most prominent breakout players of the 2024-25 season, emerging as one of the best perimeter defenders in the association and allowing the Hawks to recoup plenty of value in the failed DeJounte Murray trade. On Monday night against the Heat, Daniels recorded 7 steals, his third game with 7 thefts this season, and in so doing, he made some history that has him in the company of one of the best defensive guards of all time. According to Hawks PR on X, formerly known as Twitter, Daniels joined Chris Paul as the only 2 players to accomplish the aforementioned feat. Paul also recorded 3 games with at least 7 steals back in the 2008-2009 season when he was still with the New Orleans Hornets. It's hard to imagine where the Hawks would be if it weren't for Daniels' contributions all season long. The Hawks may have fallen off their strong pace early in the season, but they are still positioned to fight for a playoff spot via the play-in tournament, and these multi-steal games will go a long way towards this goal of theirs. A team failing to score above 100 points doesn't happen all that often anymore in today's NBA. But on Monday night, both the Hawks and Heat failed to cross the century mark in scoring, with Atlanta clamping down Miami all night long. The Heat shot a ghastly 27-84 from the field for a percentage of 32.1, which is absolutely atrocious especially in today's NBA. The Hawks deserve plenty of credit for not giving Miami any breathing space all night long, earning them their 27th win of the season in 58 tries. The Atlanta Hawks have shown resilience throughout the entire season, and it's given the good results and bad results. Over the past few games, they've resulted in the latter, and their recent loss came against the Detroit Pistons. It was a game that came down to the wire with the Hawks battling in the fourth quarter to come back, but it wasn't enough in the end to get the win. Despite the loss, the Hawks are still trying to find positives through this stretch of games, especially when the result of winning isn't coming to fruition. "We got some good, young guys that are playing well," Young said after the game. "It's hard to go out there and not focus on winning and losing as a competitor with how much work we put in. It's definitely hard when you don't see the result as what you want it to be, but you have to focus on the bright side of things." Dyson played really well again, being aggressive. "Zach hit some big shots for us. One day, those threes that he's making will be more crucial for us on an even more winning team. It's hard to process that type of mentality, but we've been doing it all year, and it's worked. We just gotta keep doing it." Dyson Daniels, Zachary Rizicher, and others kept the Hawks in the game throughout the evening, but Cade Cunningham was too much to deal with, finishing with 38 points, 12 assists, and 7 assists. Nonetheless, it wasn't Cunningham who hurt the Hawks down the stretch of the game, but Malik Beasley and Dennis Schroeder came up big for the Pistons when they needed it. The Heat's offense isn't good enough, and it gets worse than that. The Miami Heat's season continues to spiral downward, with their latest loss to the Atlanta Hawks serving as a stark reminder of just how far they've fallen. This wasn't just any old defeat, it was a complete offensive meltdown against one of the league's worst defenses. The Heat managed a paltry 86 points, gifting the Hawks their first sub-90-point defensive performance of the season. Yikes. Let's be real, this Heat team has become painful to watch. They're not just losing, they're boring us to tears in the process. It's the worst possible scenario for an NBA franchise. The offense has completely collapsed, ranking 25th in the league since January 1st after sitting in the top 10 before the new year. What in the name of Pat Riley happened? The issues run deep. Miami's pick-and-roll game is anemic, lacking both a dynamic ball handler and a legitimate rim-running threat. Without that foundational element, the offense devolves into aimless dribbling and contested floaters. Even sharpshooter Duncan Robinson can't find daylight anymore. Coach Eric Spoelstra keeps insisting they're closer than it feels, but that rings hollow when you're bricking wide-open looks and fumbling simple passes. The energy and effort that defined Heat culture for so long seems to have evaporated. Instead, we're treated to the unsightly spectacle of players whining about calls and hanging their heads. So what's the solution? Push the pace, for starters. This team doesn't have the personnel to grind out half-court possessions anymore. Let Bam Adebayo facilitate more from the high post instead of force-feeding him in the pick-and-roll. Most importantly, the Heat need to rediscover their identity and start playing with some fire again. The harsh reality is that Miami finds itself stuck in NBA purgatory, not good enough to contend, not bad enough to bottom out for a high draft pick. It's a precarious position that offers no easy answers. Heat fans can only hope this is rock bottom, because watching this team right now feels like slowly sinking into quicksand. Miami Heat legend calls Jimmy Butler a crybaby for the way he handled exit from team. After several tumultuous months and loads of posturing between he and Pat Riley, Jimmy Butler finally forced his way off the Miami Heat prior to the NBA trade deadline. Butler has played in 4 games with his new team, the Golden State Warriors, and appears back to the all-star level fans expect him to play at. But his departure left a sour taste in the mouth of many of those in Miami. One person who is especially displeased with Butler is Heat legend Tim Hardaway. Hardaway played 5.5 seasons in Miami and made a pair of all-star games for the Heat. He also finished 4th in the NBA MVP voting in 1996-97 and 6th in 1997-98. Now Hardaway says that Butler is a crybaby for the way he handled his departure. "I didn't agree with what he was doing," Hardaway said in an interview on SiriusXM. "You're under contract. You're a baby. You're a crybaby because they said no to you. We used to get no said to us all the time and we used to know how to take it. It is what it is. It's a question. You get a yes or a no. You might not like the question, but you can't deviate and mess up the team." But Hardaway doesn't place all the blame on Butler for the messy divorce. Earlier this month, he called out Heat president Pat Riley for putting Butler in a position of power. "That's Pat's damn fault, to me," Hardaway said on the Draymond Green show. "You let him fly on his own private jet to different places and he'll meet the team for shoot-arounds. You let that stuff get out of hand. As the saying goes, it takes 2 to tango." And it certainly appears that neither Butler nor Riley cared much for mediation. But Hardaway stopped short of throwing insults at the legendary Miami Heat executive. And you, fan? What do you think of Tim Hardaway's situation? Leave your opinion in the comments.